at 20 scare me as the fit for Ojulari.
And the fit for Elijah Moore. You know, there's multiple.
Certainly.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not at – see, I think the Titans – and I don't know why I'm saying this. Sometimes I just say stuff. I don't know if you guys have noticed that about me, but every now and then sometimes I just say stuff. I think the Titans want Bateman more than Moore. I think the Titans want Bateman more than Moore because I feel like Bateman fits that Corey Davis kind of mold but gives them the speed that they want. It's different speed than Moore's, but it's speed. I look at this right now and I'm thinking they want everybody in front of them to know that they want Elijah Moore to force somebody that would like Elijah Moore to trade up to Indy spot so that they could take a Bateman. But I'd much rather have, like right now, if I was John Robinson, and I wouldn't do it, but I'd be thinking about trading up to the Giants if Ojulari is on the board with this Washington pick here.
You could probably give up a fourth. But see, here's the thing, though. You can't continue to do that.
No, I agree. Because they did that with Rashaan Evans a couple years ago.
Right, and what are we talking about entering the offseason? Cap.
Yep.
Right? How do you alleviate cap issues?
Young players.
You hit on draft picks. I mean, look at how many guys that have been drafted from the last two drafts are playing for this team.
Mm-hmm.
That's a direct correlation to them having these cap issues.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to look at that. I don't know that this is a trade up is something that they should do.
No.
Even for Ojulari.
No.
Even for Ojulari, I don't think a trade up is something unless they could finagle it to where they give the Giants 22 and their fourth round pick, and the Giants give them 20 and a sixth or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we could look at that. But I just don't think – I think they need as many bodies, and not only bodies, they need as many players there in training camp and competing for jobs as possible.
Coming into the night, though, I really kind of wanted to trade down, and now that I'm looking at the board I'm looking at, I'm thinking that 22 is probably the right place to pick.
Yes, it is.
They played the board well, and they did it masterfully. And this is what they did last year. Kept looking at a corner. And Christian Fulton was just chilling.
Oh, I was so afraid someone was going to take – because Jalen Johnson and Trevion Diggs went like 8 and 7 picks before the Titans.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, God, if one team wants a corner, you are totally out of luck here. What do we think about trading back as an option?
I don't think you do it.
No.
You want more picks, but you want impact players.
Man.
And looking at these guys on the board – you have two guys defensively that will immediately make your defense better.
Mm-hmm.
And, Chris, to your point earlier, Bud Dupree, the injury happened in December.
That's what I'm saying.
It's asking a lot of this man to come back and be Bud Dupree in July, August, September. I personally don't expect to see Bud Dupree in full effect till November.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's his position, too. When you're rushing a quarterback, you got to start and stop, and you got to have that bend. Your knee can only take so much.
In the 2021 NFL Draft, the Washington football team selects Jamin Davis.
Wow.
Linebacker, Kentucky.
Wow.
Todd McShay's first draft analysis.
Jamin Davis is one of my favorite players in this entire draft. I think he's so underrated. He's 6'3 and a half, 234 pounds. He ran a 4.47 at his pro day. I mean, that's wide receiver fast. And it shows up on tape because he can cover. He plays sideline to sideline as a run defender. He's long. He's got the ability to get after the quarterback as well. I just think he's a complete linebacker, and I think he's going to start right away for an NFL team. And I think he can do everything that you're looking for in today's NFL.
Okay, Jamin Davis, linebacker, Kentucky. Right now, the Titans are guaranteed to be able to pick either Greg Newsome, Azeez Ojulari, or Elijah Moore. There is no way now at this point that the Tennessee Titans cannot be able to pick Greg Newsome, Azeez Ojulari, or Elijah Moore. Mark Howard, how big of a deal is that for the Titans right now as the Giants sit on the board with the 20th overall pick?
Sometimes the board falls your way, and that's what's happened tonight for the Titans. And now John might have to make a decision he didn't anticipate.
I think Leatherwood, Collins, Davis, these are all picks that just really set this thing up very nicely for them.
So Floyd used to call those bonus picks. When you got a guy who's like not off the board and someone picks it, they bonus pick. And, you know, Jamin Davis, I've seen him all over the place, so I'm not going to say that's a pure bonus pick. Alex Leatherwood with the 17th overall pick in the draft, that is a bonus pick.
Jamin Davis isn't a guy that was
kind of
really
sounds like
projected.
Rashawn Evans maybe a little bit.
Top 20, I don't think so. Back end of the first, absolutely. But top 20, so it is a bonus pick in my opinion because you have a guy who was expected to go after you, leapfrogging, and then you got a guy in Aziz Frippen Ojulari who was, you know, I thought that he would be going like top 15. I was looking at him to the Giants at 12. So now he's on the board. Greg Newsome, what do we say? He's going to the daggone Cardinals. He's on the board.
Well, then why do you think Ojulari is falling so far? Is there something that we don't know that's going on?
No, because you look at it, the Patriots, we know they were going quarterback, right? I think really whoever the Dolphins didn't pick was going to be available. Now, Ojulari could go here.
Yeah.
Or he could go to the Colts. You know, so it's still a good situation, though, because the Giants, I mean, I could see them picking Ojulari or Elijah Moore.
Yeah, but even if that does happen, the Tennessee Titans are going to get the corner that they probably were targeting the whole time. So even though we might not get Ojulari, we're still going to get an impact player, and I think that's what's good about picking at 22 because you're going to get some quality.
You know what's nerve-wracking? If I was a Titans fan, what I'd be nervous about right now is you talk about how this board is falling. Caleb Farley, I have him 14, considering the injury situation.
Don't.
That's a guy that's a top 10 player. So this team has shown the willingness
with Simmons.
Exactly.
To wait.
But see, the problem is Simmons was a knee.
Yeah.
This is a back.
Yeah.
What did Herb Street tell you earlier, Jared?
Tim Hasselbeck said,
Hasselbeck.
A trainer for the Giants asked him when he played for the Giants, you ever know someone that's recovered fully from a back injury? He goes, I know tons of guys that got back injuries. Right, and they don't recover. Here's the question I have for you guys. The Titans are guaranteed to be able to get Ojulari, Newsome, or Moore. One of those players will be available for the 22nd pick. Which one do you want the most if you're John Robinson?
Ojulari.
I'm going Ojulari.
Ojulari.
Over Newsome.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm going to go Ojulari. And it's crazy because I've been back and forth between Ojulari, Elijah Moore, and Greg Newsome. I say Ojulari.
This is where I ask you, TD, about the board. We know Greg Newsome profiles as a starting outside corner that would allow the Titans to move Christian Fulton down to the inside, which is probably his more natural position. Is there another player that can be a starting outside corner for the Titans right away like Greg Newsome in this draft if they don't take him at 22?
Kelvin Joseph. I think Tyson Campbell as well. I would say those guys. But when you look at pass rusher, right? Let's go and look at some of these 3-4 edges. Kwity Paye.
Kwity Paye is certainly out there.
Yeah.
He'll be there. You know, you look a little bit later, you got Ronnie Perkins. I can see him in the second round. Carlos Basham.
Quincy Roche.
Roche, exactly. Here's another thing you got to hope they don't do. And the Titans don't tend to fall in love with traits. But Jason Owe.
Oh, yeah. I hear he's got all the skills and
With
no
none
production.
Of the sacks.
Zero sacks.
All the skills and none of the sacks.
So basically, he'd be a good replacement for Clowney.
Yeah.
But he's not a premier run defender. So I don't think he, you know.
Man, if I see Ojulari's name.
If I see the Giants make
I'm
a stupid pick right here, I might dance on this table.
Man.
You don't have no rhythm, though.
That doesn't matter. Hey, this is the key here. The Giants, this is the key.
Oh, my gosh.
Because if the Giants do something stupid, then you are guaranteed to get Newsome or Ojulari. And if I had walked in here today knowing you could get one of those two players, I would have settled out of court for it immediately. The Giants pick is in. What route do we think they're going, TD?
I'm going to say Ojulari.
Taking Ojulari, yeah.
I'm going Ojulari, but they're going to do
Don't
something
take
crazy.
Ojulari.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
There's a lot of Giant fans in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. After the virtual draft last year, I'm kind of, it's nice to have a full draft.
I agree.
So if they take Ojulari, then who jumps the Titans to get Newsome? That's what I'm worried about. Giants have plenty of time on the board. They are ready to make this pick. They already got a great deal from Chicago in order to move back from 11. They picked up their first next year, a
In
third.
the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Kadarius Toney, wide receiver, Florida.
Mel Kiper's first draft analysis.
Mr. Excitement was at number 1, and he was all over the field making plays, catching the football, 70 receptions, 161 rushing yards, jet sweep, reverses, punt returner, kick returner. He can do it all, but what he has to do is stay healthy. He plays an aggressive style. He takes on defenders. He needs to live to fight another day. And if he takes care of that body, his all-around ability will make him a dynamic presence both on offense and on special teams.
Okay, TD. Jim Nagy ran the Reese's Senior Bowl, came on Stillman and Company the other day, or last week, and said he thought Toney was better than Moore, and everybody said he was crazy. Here go the Giants with Kadarius Toney. I said I would be so excited if the Giants did something stupid. I'm going to say this kind of qualifies as doing something stupid. Not terrible. It's not murder. It's maybe manslaughter.
I don't think it's something stupid.
Yeah.
I don't think it's stupid. I just think because there's a lot of upside with him. You look at him, what he's doing.
He can play.
Now, you have an offense. Like, picture this, right? You go regular personnel. You got Toney lined up on the outside at Z. He comes in motion, right? You give the jet sweep. You let him go around the edge. Then he comes in motion a little bit later in the game. You fake the jet sweep, and you pitch it to Saquon Barkley where he came from. There's a lot of things that you could do with Toney, but for me, I'm going Moore over Toney because this is why the floor. Elijah Moore's floor is much higher than Toney, and that's why I take him over. But it's the same type of player for this situation, whereas you need somebody that could complement and bring some juice to your offense.
One pick to go.
I think Kadarius Toney, he's an explosive player, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to start running routes. You got to run routes in this league. You're going to get open on some speed sweeps and things like that. That's great. But when you're getting in the slot, you're going to have to run those choice routes. You're going to have to run those slants, and you're going to have to run routes. That's what separates him from Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore can do those type of things.
And Elijah Moore has urgency in his routes.
Yeah.
He will be able to get open quickly,
and stop
create
on the
that separation
yes,
quickly. And he gives you the yards after catch. And I will say this, being down there at the Senior Bowl, watching Kadarius Toney, he was my coach, and we ran crazy routes and one-on-ones. He said, "Hey, boy, you better stop running those mad bohemian routes." That's exactly what Toney was down there doing. I'm talking about a route that takes 8 seconds.
You're
not going to have 8 seconds.
And Daniel Jones can't play with
sir.
that. Now, 5 minutes on Indianapolis's pick. One pick to go for the Titans at 22. They are guaranteed either Ojulari or Newsome. Are we taking it down to 2 right now as far as targets are concerned, Ojulari and Newsome? Chris?
I know we're going to get one of those guys. That's a good
but
thing.
Are you considering Elijah Moore still at 22? Are
No.
you considering Rashad Bateman at 22? And now here's the other thing. If you trade down a couple of spots, you'll still be able to get one of the targets, and you will add an extra player if you pick up a 3rd or a 4th round pick.
Yeah, if Ojulari's there, I'm taking him. No questions asked. Because if you look at the crop of wide receivers, after you get past those Waddles and guys like that, they're all the same. So you're going to get an impact player. So if you look at the Tennessee Titans a couple of years ago, what jewel did they find in the 2nd round? A.J. Brown. So you're going to find a guy that can come in and make plays even if Elijah Moore's not even there. So I say if Ojulari's there, you take that guy immediately.
I think Indy right now is trying to trade. because they are taking all the time off the clock right now.
Here's the deal. The Steelers pick at 24. If Ojulari doesn't go to the Colts or Titans, he's going 24. So
You don't think they take Najee Harris?
Yeah.
See,
Daggone,
I
yeah.
think Indianapolis too, and I don't know how they have it ranked on their board. I think Darisaw, they got to think about
Darisaw's the pick here. That's
because
what I think
they need a left
They
tackle.
lost
That's what I
Costanzo.
said earlier.
Yeah.
That's what I said earlier. That's the pick here.
I mean, I'm telling you right now, I've already got 2 cards made out. One says Azeez Ojulari, the other says Greg Newsome.
So who do you get?
I mean, I said Ojulari, but the starting corner is attractive to me. The starting outside corner is attractive to me.
the starting corner that you could put out there and say, hey, we're going to give you a little bit of help over time.
Yeah.
But you know what? Newsome Island, this is all you.
Mm-hmm.
That's your man. You're going to cover him. And he could do that.
Well, let me ask you this. Who do you think will have the bigger impact, Ojulari or Newsom, coming in immediately from day one?
Ojulari, every day that ends in a Y. Because here's why. As we mentioned, Dupree, I don't think Bud Dupree's going to be
He's
back
not gonna
all
be
the
ready.
way. After that, Harold Landry, he played 170% of the snaps last year and 140% the year before. Derek Roberson, he can't stay healthy. They need, how many times did they field 3 outside linebackers?
God. Oh, just awful.
Right. They can't do that again.
How many sacks did the Titans have last year?
19.
There it is. That tells you right there who you need to get.
I think this is Darisaw.
Mark, what do we think? Indianapolis
have
at 21.
I don't know.
I think it's an offensive lineman.
It has to be. It has to be either Jenkins or Darisaw, whoever they have higher rated on their board. I'm guessing Darisaw. I bet the Indianapolis draft room danced with excitement when the Raiders took Alex Leatherwood. In fact, they should show the draft cam of the other teams when the Raiders pick just to see the excitement level on everybody's face. But Indianapolis has the pick in. Again, every single one of TD's targets entering the day is still available. Greg Newsome, Azeez Ojulari, Elijah Moore, Rashad Bateman, Tevin Jenkins are still all available with 1 pick to go, and the pick is in. And to Teron's point, this does feel like Christian Darisaw here would be the top player on the board at a position of need for Indianapolis.
Woo-wee. Can you feel it?
Can you imagine being in that Titan draft room right now?
Oh, man. I would be standing up walking back and forth, pacing. I'll be pacing.
This is going to be interesting right here, boss.
There's got to be one guy. There has to be one guy that the Titans like the most. I think, us, we're all saying Ojulari, right?
Yeah, well, you would think.
I talked to Ojulari. You see what I'm saying? So it's not any like
He was
leakage
talking with
to
TD?
me. I talked
On
to
talking
him.
with TD?
The man told me that was one of his best interviews.
Wow.
The man told me that he really vibed with Mike Vrabel. The man told me he talked to Shane Bowen. He talked to Ryan Crow. He talked to John Robinson. I mean, you talk to the DC, you talk to the head coach, the GM, and the new position coach.
And it's a good fit.
And he said that he was able to run down their scheme, the whole conversation.
Yeah.
They draw it up on the board, they erase it, they talk about something, and you go back, and he said he ran it down. He loves how they attack.
But that's the kind of player he is. He's always on the attack. So I think
Always.
he's going to fit this mold really, really good if the Tennessee Titans get him.
Roger Goodell is approaching the podium.
Cross your fingers there, boss.
There is an Indianapolis fan in his chair that is on the stage. Here we go.
2021 NFL Draft. The Indianapolis Colts select Kwity Paye, defensive end, Michigan.
Todd McShay's first draft analysis.
The first thing that jumps off the tape with Kwity Paye is his suddenness. I mean, he is a twitchy athlete. He is big, he's physical, he has all the tools you look for. I thought Michigan utilized him improperly. They dropped him too much in coverage. I love when he just goes up the field and gets after the quarterback. And the other thing that I love about Paye's game is the fact that he has a great motor and he will He will chase down any running back and any quarterback, doesn't matter where it is on the field. And I just think that motor translates so well to the NFL.
There you go. That was Todd McShay. Those player profiles presented by Apple Collision Centers. Let's take 10 seconds for station identification. Break this down. The Titans are on the clock.
Locally owned, WPRT FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, ESPN, 102.5 The Game.
Okay, are we sending the card in right now? We go around the room. Mark Howard, we start with you. The Titans are on the clock. 5 minutes to go till the pick is in. Are we sending it in? Azeez Ojulari.
You wonder if JR is thinking of maybe trading back a few spots.
No.
I do wonder that.
I wonder that. And could he get, perhaps another 3?
He could do it, but who would want to jump out?
No.
See, here's the deal. You cannot go back beyond 26 and 27. Yeah. The Browns and the Ravens. Those teams are going to want to get. They're going to want to get an edge. The Ravens got 27 to 31, so they're going to want to get an edge, right?
And Cleveland's got to go secondary because their secondary stinks.
They made some.
Denzel Ward can play, but I don't know who else is out there that
you got Greedy Williams, their second-round pick, and then they added a safety. Dadgummit, I don't remember who it is, but either way, you want to get ahead of the Browns and Ravens. So if the Steelers, I mean, what team has a reason to move up? That's the whole question.
Ravens might if they, they're still looking for defensive linemen. They love to collect defensive linemen.
The pick should have been in already.
But who?
I wonder if John's trying to move back.
What defensive lineman would you say?
Yeah.
Ojulari.
Right. So it's like, okay, well, do you want to risk? Do you want to give up Ojulari?
I don't know how John has him ranked.
Where is Christian Darrisaw on your board compared to Azeez Ojulari? Because remember, they did go tackle last year, and that hole is still not filled. So I wonder how much better Darrisaw would be than one of these guys. I mean, I'm just turning it in now. I'm turning in Ojulari. Here, take it. Take the card, please, from me.
I mean, they still got 3 minutes left. It should have been done at
I had Darrisaw 24.
Okay, so Ojulari's ahead of Darrisaw.
29. I had him at 20. Oh, yeah, Ojulari. Right now, best available is Caleb Farley and then Ojulari.
If they get Caleb Farley.
If they trade out of this pick right here, you know what I think's happening right now is I think they're having the same discussion we just had, which was, what the heck do you do with all these guys you like on the board? And the thing Mark just brought up was, are you talking trade right now to get an extra player if you can? See what anyone would offer you, knowing you can still get a player you like. What if they like both corners? What if they feel comfortable with Farley's back and they like both corners, so they think, okay, we can move back, add a third-round pick by moving back and still get one of the two corners we like?
I mean, I would stay away from Farley. And the reason why I say that, we talked about it earlier, is when you're dealing with a back, you're not going to be that explosive. Now, if Newsom's there, then I definitely consider doing that because he can come in and help right away. But I just hope that J. Rob and Mike Vrabel and that coaching staff doesn't take a chance on Farley. And I'm not saying that in a mean way.
Right.
It's just you got to understand, you got to win now. You're 11-5, and you're a couple of pieces away from going to the Super Bowl. You don't need somebody to come in and get healed up and play. You need somebody to come in and play right away, and I think Newsom would be that guy, or Ojulari.
And my biggest gripe in all of this, you can't get hands on Farley until he's in your building.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Would you sign a free agent without knowing his medical stuff?
Well, we don't know if they got their hands on Farley because their doctors were in Indy, but they didn't get to everyone, and we don't know if they got to Farley.
Right. But
I know what you mean.
But here's the deal: we didn't see him on the field going in individual workouts.
Oh, sure.
And if you don't see that, and you can't be up close and see what this guy can do to see if the explosiveness is there, then I'm definitely not taking a chance. I'm not going by what your agent says or what somebody else says. I want to see you line up in a press situation and see if you can backpedal and explode forward. And if you can't do that, I'm not taking a risk.
It's like buying a refurbished iPad, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, like not trying to be, but that's really what it is.
By the way, I buy refurbished stuff all the time.
And it breaks it.
but one that doesn't have a warranty.
That is true.
Man, they traded out.
That is.
You got nervous, didn't you?
Well, they can't trade
I
now.
feel like writing any.
I mean, there's 50 seconds on the clock.
Yeah,
they
but
can't trade
why
now.
are they taking so long, though?
I think
They're probably
on
trying
the
to work the
with
phones
someone.
and hear it out, man.
I mean, I think this is going to be Ojulari.
That'd be huge if they get
It's
it.
either Ojulari or it's Newsome.
Lord.
No.
Hold on. The pick is in. TD, let me see that
I got to unlock my phone.
as we wait over here on the. Oh, wow. Wow. Well, I would say keep it here for about the next 25 minutes
Wow.
Hey,
for a J-Rob special.
what in the Sam?
Just remember,
E.
the
Hill.
Tennessee Titans in 2017 took Corey Davis coming off of an ankle injury.
That's different, though.
And in 2019, they took Jeffrey Simmons coming off of a torn ACL.
That's different, though.
And so, again, we're going to let Roger Goodell announce the pick as they have a concert. All right, if they're having a concert, we should just announce it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
I ain't allowed to tip picks, so I'm staying quiet.
oh, yeah, that's right. You do work for ESPN. Phew.
What in Sam?
All right, let's just assume that John Robinson makes it 3 times in 4 years that he drafts a value pick, a guy that is a top pick who falls because of injury for the 3rd time in 4 years. I don't know.
You got Ojulari, you got Newsome sitting there. You got guys that can come in.
Now, Newsome's got some injury history, too.
Yeah, but you're talking about a back situation.
So Max is going to leave our mics up as Goodell approaches the podium. We will have a reaction in live time here on the draft show.
At 22.
Just make the pick. Let's go. I do like this song.
Well, the commissioner working the photo op on the big stage with the Titans fan. Here we go.
Sweet Caroline.
That was good. With the 22nd
Still
pick
booing.
in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Caleb Farley, defensive back, Virginia Tech.
Todd McShay's first
Caleb Farley.
Let me tell you something.
Okay, all right. We'll open it up. But can I have the first reaction on this one? If this is a mistake, John Robinson's getting fired. I'm just telling you right now. He's not getting fired, at the end of this year. But if this one is a mistake, if the back is not healed and the back is an issue, this is going to be the pick that does him in. I'm not totally against it. My guess is the Titan doctors got their hands on Farley at the combine because, again, I don't think John Robinson can risk his career on that back.
That is my guess too. This is really interesting. I know they truly did not expect that man to be there. So it's kind of a similar situation to the Simmons thing, but again, this back is just wow.
Right. But here's the deal: is you're going into the season with question marks. I mean, when if you could have drafted those other guys, Newsome or Ojulari, you don't have any question marks. With Caleb Farley, you don't know if he's explosive. You don't know if he can, run or anything like that because everybody was talking about that he's fluid and fast. Okay, I want to see it in individual workouts, but you don't know because he didn't have an individual workout. So it's so many question marks, and I'm not disrespecting, yes I am, dangummit. I'm going to, it was a terrible pick. I mean, it was. And I'm not saying it's a terrible pick because he's not a good player. It's a terrible pick is because you don't know if this guy's healthy or not. Point blank.
It's certainly risky, and you look at Farley's tape and it blows you away. But then you look again at the injury history and it scares you. I'll be anxious to hear what John Robinson has to say about the thought that went behind this.
You know, Mark, and I'm not trying to belabor this, is I had the same back situation, so I understand how it feels.
Yeah.
And I lost a lot of strength in my legs. I lost a lot of strength in my explosiveness. And if he does have the same injury I have, so he's going to have the same things that I went through. You got to retrain your whole muscles in your leg because the sciatic nerve is not firing to your muscles because the L5 is pressing on it. So I'm kind of at a loss of words because there's 2 or 3 other guys that could have came in and played right away. We don't know if this guy can come in and play right away because he's always injured, and I just don't understand.
I think I stand by my original take, which is, you know what? And I'm not, you know me, you guys know me. I am not a defer to the coach, defer to the GM guy. I am saying this, though. If that back, because he's going to tell us tonight, John Robinson, when he has his press conference, we'll have it live in its entirety right here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. He will tell us tonight that they got their hands on that back and they are assured that the back is okay. If he's wrong, it should cost him his job. Is that an overreaction? I don't think it is.
A little bit.
Yeah.
He should be on the hot seat. I'm not going to say cost him his job, but the thing is, at this point right now, you are a team that is in the mix as far as contenders. I don't know that you could put your elevating to the next level opportunity in the hands of a guy. Of course, when healthy, that's cool, but is he healthy? That's the main thing that you have to.
And clearly everybody else doesn't think he's healthy.
Because he's going to slip down to 22.
Because Arizona's taking him at 16 if he's healthy.
I mean, there was no on the field things that we saw. I mean, I know we saw him play in some football games the prior year, but we didn't see him now coming off the back injury. I mean, that's the questions that needs to be asked. Because I'm going to tell you something. When I hurt my back, it took me, I mean, I still don't have full range of motion. I still don't have feeling in my leg. I still, if I try to run up the stairs, my legs kind of give out because of the sciatic nerve. And that's what I'm kind of baffled about, because you're playing a position, a cornerback position, to where you count on your explosiveness. And when that explosiveness is gone, you're going to get exposed early because these wide receivers can run, they're physical, they're fast, and if you can't explode, you're going to get exploited big time.
Mark Howard, your thoughts?
Well, I said it before. It's risky. It fills a need. We don't know right now the whole story, and that's why I am reluctant, to get the posse after John Robinson. Yeah. If he gets up there and says, "Listen, our doctors checked him out. They gave him a clean bill of health. We're convinced that the back injury and the surgery are either healing or have healed, and we'll get him back at whatever day." I mean, Jeffrey Simmons was a similar situation. I know a knee is different than a back, but there was a timetable involved. But if he's right, it's a great pick. If it's not, then he's going to take this one to his grave.
I mean, this is the kind of pick that just, and I don't like doing this because I said yesterday on the show, and I stand by it, that John Robinson should not have gone out of his way to not do something that he would normally do based upon Isaiah Wilson last year. You can't say, hey, I had the risky pick, and with the risky pick, I'm not going to take it because I took Isaiah last year. But if the back is an issue this year for Farley, then I think we have to look at it like, dude, like you can't take a risk every time in the first round. He did it with, and let's be real, Corey Davis didn't run. They told us Corey Davis could run. Hey, we looked at the tape. I know he didn't run a 40. We looked at the tape. He can run. And I struggle with this pick because he's done no football for 2 years.
That's the point that I'm making. And, just looking at the whole situation, who do you think really made that call? Was it J-Rob or Mike Vrabel?
I think it's J-Rob. I think it was J-Rob because if I'm Mike Vrabel, I understand not for long. You know what I'm saying? The Vikings selected Darisaw. If I'm Mike Vrabel, I understand not for long, so I'm not tying my immediate opportunity to elevate this team to a guy that's hurt.
Well, and the other thing too, Teron, if you sort of read between the lines, Mike Vrabel, when asked about the defense last year, said it wasn't really Shane Bowen's fault. It was the guys who were playing for him.
Yep.
And we need better football players, which to me was a mandate to the general manager that he needs to upgrade the roster. And even though these guys have been in lockstep and everything seems to be hunky-dory, to me, that was a read between the lines challenge to the general manager. Maybe not trying to usurp his authority, but to let him know, we need a better roster.
What do you think with this pick, do you think they still have faith in Fulton and Jenkins, Jack Jenkins?
Oh, yeah. I think this is to move Fulton back to his natural position inside. I mean, clearly the doctors, I think it was Farley who went to the combine and tweeted out after the combine that, hey, I got the medical recheck, and the medical recheck said good to go. And then Rosenhaus, and to Robinson's credit, he said on Robbie and Rex Road that tip of the hat to the agents. The way he said it was, I don't really like doing this, but tip of the hat to the agents. Clearly, Drew Rosenhaus got Robinson all the info he needed on Farley. I understand the process. I mean, they clearly are sure, because they wouldn't make the pick if they weren't sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The question is, though, you can be sure today, and tomorrow when he gets up on the football field, it can be a totally different feeling, and that's what scares me.
Let me just give you an illustration. When I went to do my workouts and I got cut from the Tennessee Titans, I did a workout with Green Bay, and my agent was telling Green Bay that he's healthy and he's running fast. Dude, I ran a 4.75. I ran a 4.75, but they were hearing all the good things. Oh, he's healthy, he's good, and he's back, which was great, and they feel confident. But when they saw me run, they was like, okay, we're not going to take a chance because he doesn't have that explosiveness. And I just hope we don't, or the Tennessee Titans don't fall in that category to where they bring him in and we don't see the explosives that they saw 2 years ago.
By the way, I should note that the Vikings selected Christian Darrisaw, the tackle out of Virginia Tech. The Steelers are on the clock. Their pick is in. I'm guessing Najee Harris. The one thing I will say, if we take a look at TD's big board, the Titans did take the top player available on TD's big board.
Way to go, TD.
They went BPA.
So there is that. TD's big board, by the way, presented by Founders Brewing, and our two-tone blue update, Caleb Farley, 22nd overall, is presented by MTGRT.com. The Steelers pick is in.
Ojulari, I think.
Oof. Oh, man, that's the one that gets me, Mark Howard, is that Ojulari's still on the board.
Oh, my gosh. And Newsome.
Oh, my goodness. Goodell to the podium.
In the 2021 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Najee Harris, running back, Alabama.
Todd McShay's first draft analysis.
Najee Harris is a 235-pound back who didn't always run like a 235-pound back. But this past year, he became more physical and aggressive, and Nick Saban loved that about him. And then talking to Steve Sarkisian, the offensive coordinator formerly for Alabama, he wanted to get him more involved in the passing game, and that's what happened this past year. And he caught the ball so well. He adjusted to throws outside of his frame, and he showed the ability to create after the catch. And that makes him, in my opinion, a three-down back in the NFL.
So the player profile presented by Apple Collision Centers. Let's get back to Caleb Farley for the Titans.
Yeah.
Chris Sims says that Caleb Farley, in the 5 years he's been breaking down draft products, is the best corner he has graded. The 2019 tape for Caleb Farley was the best corner he's graded, higher than Jalen Ramsey.
I'll take that.
Do we need to look? I know we've looked at the glass half empty on the injury front. Do we need to look at the glass half full as to what that pick could really be if the back is, in fact, okay, Mark Howard?
Well, I think John would tell you, as he did, again, with Jeffrey Simmons, if you've got a chance to get, it's essentially a top 5 player, and maybe wait a little bit longer, then it's worth the risk. And I'm sure that in his mind, he didn't take a foolish risk, that Farley should be ready, should be okay, maybe at a certain juncture early in the season.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, this is what concerns me, is you just don't know if he's healthy or he's not healthy. And that's what you don't want to come into camp with, is just unknowing. I mean, you just don't want to put yourself in position. And I said it earlier before, you're just a couple of positions of going to the Super Bowl. But now you don't want this guy to just come in and just sit. I mean, if he comes in to sit as the first round, then why didn't you go get somebody else to fill that role? So I don't know. I'm just, and I respect Mike Vrabel, and I respect that organization. But this is a big risk. I mean, this is huge. This is the 22nd pick of the draft, and he's supposed to come in right away and play. But it's still a question mark. Can he come in and play because of the injury? I just don't understand.
Boy, I tell you, man, I hear back injury, and that gets me, it's an ACL. We expect Taylor Lewan to come back this season and be fine. The Titans just gave Bud Dupree $1 billion, and the guy's coming off of a torn ACL. Torn ACL isn't the end of the world for me. A back injury. I mean, there are a couple injuries in sports where I'm like, I don't know. Back injury to a speed player in football, that's one of them. Like a shoulder to a pitcher in baseball. There are certain injuries that, man, it is hard to overcome. I think the question now, Chris,
yes,
is what does John Robinson have to say tonight in his press conference to convince you that this was a risk worth taking?
I mean, he's going to have to build some confidence and say the right things. I mean, he's going to say the right things. He's going to say, we talked to the doctors, we talked to the right people, and they assured us that he's ready. I mean, that sounds good and dandy, and, you're going to feel confident for a minute. But what happens if he goes to camp and he has a sit-out? If he goes to OTAs, he has a sit-out. No, they're not going to have OTAs. But they go to camp, and he has to sit out, and he can't perform. You can't just throw him out to the wolves when the actual season starts. You got to see if he can do it. You got to see if he can backpedal. You got to see if he has that explosiveness, and you're just taking a big risk. But I think Mike Vrabel and I think J-Rob need to make sure they say the right things to make sure the fans that has confidence, and make sure the people that are listening have confidence.
Mark Howard, what do you need to hear from John Robinson?
Well, I think John's going to tell us that this is a building block player, and if they have to wait a few games for him next season, then fine. It's worth it.
But the time is now, though. You know what I'm saying? We talked about it earlier, Mark, that, they're just a couple of pieces away from.
Yeah, Chris, I don't buy that.
You don't buy what?
No, I don't buy that.
What?
I think they need so much on defense. They're weak in the secondary.
Right.
They're weak They're weak in the pass rush.
Right.
They need a tight end. They need at least 2 receivers. So by my count, that's 5.
That's what I said. Couple of players.
Couple is not 5.
It's close. I went to Ohio State. Easy.
Okay.
But seriously.
Buckeye math.
But seriously, they went 11-5 with a bad defense, right? Right or wrong?
They went 11.
Right, but terrible defense.
Last year, let me tell you something.
Well,
last year was a fluke
right.
In a lot of ways for them.
Right, but who did they add, though? Autry, and they got Dupree. So now you added a couple of pieces, and you get in this draft and you get an impact player, then now it makes it even better. Because you listen, I know the defense was bad. I know it was terrible, but you still went 11-5. And now it
wasn't just bad, it was historically bad.
Historically bad, but you went 11-5, right?
Let me tell you something. They could replay that season 100 times and they don't win. I'm convinced they don't win 11 games. They had a great offense.
Right.
But they won every close game, broke their way.
Right. But what was their record?
It was 11-5.
11-5.
Yeah, well, their turnover differential led the league.
Right.
And that is something that doesn't tend to repeat itself. So I'm just telling you, I mean, they talk about the Titans are a candidate for regression this year, because of that.
But exactly. So if we're talking about regression, then why would they go get a guy that they're unsure of?
I don't think they're unsure of him.
No, I think they're totally sure of it. I mean, I think they are totally sure of this pick.
I'm talking about like us being unsure of it.
Well, sure, but they don't care what we think.
Welcome to the media.
I mean, the Stillman and Company radio show, all 3 of us, the Stillman part and the company part, all said no on Caleb Farley 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And I don't think
my
J-Rob cares what
I
we
agree.
decided. But I don't disagree. I mean, again, the thing that gets me is Corey Davis, and I don't want to say Corey Davis can't run because that's not fair to Davis.
Right.
But Davis can't run fast. And if you're taking a receiver at the 5th overall pick, he needs to be able to run fast. And they didn't know that because he didn't run a 40 time.
Right.
And, with Farley, he hasn't played football in 2 years.
That is a concern, a huge concern. So, I mean, I'm just at a loss of words. And I know, Mark, you hate when I say this, that there are a couple of players away. You said 5. But, you just add a little bit to this mix. I mean, they got Autry, they got Dupree, they got guys that can come in that can play. I'm not saying Dupree will be ready, but you get, I don't know, it's just a bad pick, in my opinion. It is.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock with the 25th pick. They took Trevor Lawrence, obviously, number 1 overall. I see, what they put on TV, team needs. I'd say Jacksonville's needs are now every position outside of quarterback that I feel like Jacksonville needs. I guess I get a little worried here if they go out and get Azeez Ojulari.
Boy.
Or if they go out here and get Elijah Moore. I think I start to get a little bit worried about Jacksonville, who sits on the clock here, Chris Sanders at 25.
Yeah, I mean, they solidified the quarterback position. You go out and get another wide receiver, just like what you talk about, Elijah Moore. You just added a spark to that wide receiving core with Chalk and all those other guys. So, even though they have a lot of pieces to fill, you start adding a couple
NFL
of players,
draft,
it'll be all right.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select Travis Etienne, running back, Clemson.
Todd McShay's first draft analysis.
Travis Etienne is a rarity. You don't see guys that are this decorated come back for their final year, and that's exactly what he did. He wound up with 518 carries, and he was durable throughout his entire career. But what he did was improve upon his game. I thought he was a 2nd or 3rd round pick coming into the year, and now he should be a late 1st, early 2nd round pick because he got stronger in his lower body and he caught the ball so well. He's competitive, he's tough, he's just become a complete player, and that's why Clemson loved him, and that's why NFL teams are going to want to bring him on.
So there was the pick right there. Todd McShay with the breakdown presented by Apple Collision Centers. Chris Sanders, you say that you talked to a doctor who would know about these type of injuries, like Caleb Farley's back injury. What did the doctor say?
He said this. He said when you have a back injury like this, when you have an L5 and it's messing with your sciatic nerve, it says you don't have feeling in your toes. That's exactly what I have. And it says it's your feeling in his toes and also your movement and your mobility. So if you have that as a cornerback and you don't have feeling in your toes and you can't have that explosiveness, that's a big risk to take. And this is a guy that I trust his judgment because he specifies in things like this.
What I wonder, go back to the quality of doctors when you played for the Titans. I assume Dr. Elrod was, the doctor at that point in time. If Dr. Elrod, first of all, I know good well Floyd would have never taken Caleb Farley. Like just what I know about Floyd. He never would. He does not, he hates injured players. He is an injurist. Mm-hmm. He's not racist. He's not sexist. He is an injurist.
Right.
And he would have never taken this pick. But that's neither here nor there. If Dr. Elrod, and what you know of him, back when he was the doctor with the Titans, if he gave you the thumbs up on the back, said, Chris, I've looked at this back, I trust this back, I believe in this back, would you be okay with the pick today?
With Farley? No. I still wouldn't be okay.
Even if the doctor says,
no.
Your doctor.
The reason why I would say no is because I can't see him personally on the field. I mean, just like what we talked about, he hasn't played in 2 years. Yeah, we can say the doctor, he's good and he has strength and all that great stuff, but I want to see you in action. I want to see if you have that same explosiveness. I want to see if you have that same quick change of direction, all these things that a cornerback needs to have, because the doctors can say all day, and he can say, I feel good, my back feels good, but when you get in actual competition, when you get actually in drills, I want to see what I saw 2 and 3 years ago, and if you don't have that, I'm staying away from it.
Mark, if Dr. Elrod back in the day came up to you, you're making the pick, and said, Mark, I looked at that back, I went to the combine, I got my hands on that back, That back is A-OK. Would you be okay with the pick?
He'd say that disc is like a jelly donut. and what was happening was, am I right?
Yeah.
That's the way to describe it. Yeah, I think that absolutely. The medical people. And listen, Amy Adams Strunk didn't just fall off the turnip truck. She's not going to give a multi-million-dollar deal to a guy who's damaged goods. I mean, they got to feel pretty good about Caleb Farley physically. And I think, in a year from now, we might be saying, boy, I can't believe, we got that overwrought over this. But, listen, there is obviously a downside to this.
I just wonder if we are having too much fun or if the league sent out a memo and said, hey, everybody get your picks in quick this year. Because the Browns pick is in at 26 right here.
Ooh.
Just the way the board's starting to play out right now. And again, I don't know what Baltimore's going to do and with their 2 picks in New Orleans and what they're going to do. The trade back option right now does not feel like it was a bad option, obviously in hindsight, because it looks like Elijah Moore is still going to be around. It looks like Azeez Ojulari is hanging around. The guys that we wanted the Titans to take, and nobody's taking them. So that either means that we're dummies or something's up this year.
You add Ojulari to that D-line. I don't know if Clowney shows up, but
if they get him,
it's got some interesting possibilities.
I wonder if this pick is Joe Tryon, honestly.
Yeah.
And my bad for being silent. This is what happens when you get up.
The pandemic revealed the depths of the digital divide for underserved students across the country. We have partnered with the Education Trust as part of Draftathon to bridge the divide. Maya Tumoto and her class at Shaw High School here in Cleveland have faced this challenge during remote learning. She has worked overtime to assist other students, not only preparing and distributing computers, but teaching other students how to use them. I'm proud to introduce Maya to make the Cleveland Browns pick.
What's up, Cleveland? Are y'all ready for this? All right. Are you guys ready for the best in the land with the 26th pick for the 2021 NFL Draft for the Cleveland Browns? We have Gregory Newsome II.
Mel Kiper's first draft analysis.
Here's a guy who gradually this year kept moving up the draft board. Only had 1 career interception against Wisconsin in 2020, but 9 pass breakups, really impressive in coverage. Go back to 2019, led Northwestern and second in the Big Ten with 11 pass breakups. Has a basketball background, really smart kid with real good length. Ran 4.38 at his pro day. You're talking about a 6'1", 190-pounder who's smooth, athletic, and gets the job done in man coverage.
That was Mel Kiper Jr.'s breakdown on Gregory Newsome II. Again, Mel Kiper's breakdown presented by Apple Collision Centers. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I plan on being a dad at some point in my life. And I've told myself I'm not going to let my kid become a Titan fan. And this is exactly why. Cleveland, who's got no secondary other than Denzel Ward, Cleveland needs a corner, and they get Greg Newsome, the guy that we thought the Titans should take. And now we have to pray that Caleb Farley's L5 vertebrae and his lumbar and his sciatica and his glutes and his hamstrings and everything else, we have to pray that it's okay.
He said his glutes.
It's all connected. And we now have to pray. And Cleveland got the corner that we wanted.
And that poor guy, did he get COVID too?
Yeah, Farley's got COVID right now. So he didn't end up going to the draft. But I'm not sure I really care about that.
Oh, no, I don't care about that. I was just looking at all of the things that he's
It's a lot of stuff. Hadn't played a game in 2 years, has COVID, opted out, has a bad back. It's a lot.
And I know I'm joking and laughing a lot, but this is really, really serious. I mean, if you guys could just be in my shoes and understand how serious this back injury is, I mean, I'm still dealing with it, and I had surgery in 2001. I mean, and it still hurts. I mean, I still don't have full strength in my legs, so that's why I'm really baffled about it, because I experienced what he's going through right now. I mean, I said all the right things and, about, I feel better and I can run and this and that. But at the end of the day, I was fooling myself because I didn't have the strength and I didn't have the explosiveness that I had back in the day.
Here's what gets me on that front. Vrabel's played the game. I get on Vrabel probably more than anybody else, because if Vrabel looks the wrong way, I go bananas about it. But Vrabel has been around enough back injuries in his life. I feel like Vrabel would, if it were that bad, and it sounds bad, but I feel like Vrabel would throw up the stop sign at some point and say, whoa, whoa, whoa. I remember when so-and-so with the Steelers in 1998 had this same thing, and he never played again, that kind of thing. So that is the one thing where I would hope Vrabel would throw the stop sign up at third base, but I don't know.
I think the whole thing with modern medicine, but the thing is just, can you really do something with nerves?
That's the point.
I just wonder, this whole time we've been talking about nerves, I kept thinking about Jalen Smith and how they regenerated that nerve, and it's like, that's a little different.
Yeah.
I don't think that was around back when you had your stuff, but I just, if I'm a Titans fan, I wouldn't be able to talk myself into this pick.
Right.
I just wouldn't be able to right now. But look, when the guy's healthy, he's locked down. He's locked down, but it's just, can he get healthy again? That's the huge question.
But see, with Jalen Smith, he had a knee injury. When you're talking about a back injury with a sciatic nerve fires to all the muscles in your leg to make them work. So that's the difference between the back and the knee injury. So it's just difficult to swallow, because you had so many other good players on the board that you could have got that can come in and play right away. So we just don't know what he can do. And listen, even though I know I'm being critical and kind of talking about the negative part about it, because I do want him to come there and play and contribute to make this defense better. But just knowing what back injuries do and really experiencing it, I mean, it's a total different ball game.
I also wonder, too, do we think anybody else between now and then would have made this pick?
No.
Like, isn't that part of the job?
We don't know.
We don't know. Yeah,
that's a fair point.
We
Maybe
really
the
don't
Browns
know.
would
Yeah,
have,
that's true.
So apparently, here you go. John Robinson and Mike Vrabel will have their press conference in 5 minutes. So it will be Vrabel and Robinson before Farley. I mean, here's the thing, right? So I asked this question earlier about what we need to hear from John Robinson about the injury. Like, what are the the assurance from John that this back is actually healed. He's going to say the doctors cleared it, that they feel good about it, and that he's going to be okay, and that we're not going to feel good about it until we see him on the football field. So I do want to hear what John has to say, but I'm just telling you, I don't think we'll feel good about this at all, Chris Sanders, until we see Farley on the football.
I mean, that's the importance, because, we can hear and we can talk all day and saying, he's been medically cleared and, he feels good and, all these things. But until we actually see him in drills, until we actually see him one-on-one in press coverage, until we actually see him, doing the things that he did a couple of years ago, there's still going to be that question mark. There's so many things that we need to see. Can he be explosive? Does he have change of direction? Does he have strength? Can he explode? All the things that we don't know is because he didn't have an individual workout. Now, if he would have had an individual workout and they actually saw this, then now we wouldn't be having this discussion, even though he got hurt a couple of years ago. So I just think that that's where the variable is.
Mark Howard? Oh, go ahead, TD. I'm sorry.
I got a reply from Stefania Bell. She says,
ESPN's
injury specialist, analyst. She says that she doesn't know that the risk is high. There's definitely risk given his history, but they will support his ability to return to play at a high level. The key will be not pushing him too fast. Count on core strength, gradually reintegrate into football activity. Patience yields results. I love what she's saying, but I just don't know that this is a team that has the patience to do that.
Well, it's pretty open-ended. It doesn't really give you a timetable.
Well, okay, patience yields results, but I mean, does that mean don't have him play in training camp? Does it mean, what does that in fact mean? I think that's something to consider.
Ravens on the clock with the 27th pick, and they just took Rashad Bateman.
We might get Elijah Moore though.
Hey, T. Martin is Coach T is happy.
I mean, Rashad Bateman can play.
That's a nice pick.
It is. I mean, they need a receiver. I mean, big time. I mean,
Sammy Watkins. You got Devin Duvernay. Rashad Bateman, he could, I like this pick for them.
Again, we are awaiting John Robinson and Mike Vrabel with their press conference discussing the 22nd pick, which should be any time now. A little surprising, though, given the fact that the round's not over. So I guess that means the Titans are saying they ain't trading back into the first round. But wouldn't you want to just kind of wait until the round's over before you?
Or maybe they are, and that's why they switched. I don't know. I mean, I doubt it, but
I think I would just kind of wait on it. But again, we are waiting for Mike Vrabel and John Robinson's press conference. We will carry that live right here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. It's in 1 minute. So in 1 minute, we should be expecting John Robinson and Mike Vrabel. Let's go inside the locker room with Chris Sanders. Inside the locker room is presented by Freedom Tire Guys. Chris Sanders, in a minute or less, what do you think we will hear from Robinson and Vrabel?
I think they're going to try to assure the fans that they did their homework of really the reason why they picked Farley is because they trust the doctors, they trust what they said, and they're expecting him to contribute this year. So I think that's what the logistics of what they're going to talk about, J-Rob and Vrabel, because the thing about it is we have a lot of question marks of why the pick, and I think they're going to answer those questions, and I think we're going to get a taste of what they're thinking.
I do love, in all seriousness, the immediate reaction of Chris Sanders, who, Chris, I don't like to. You tell it how it is, but you don't just crush the Titans.
I'll never crush them. It's just that
you said it was a terrible pick.
I mean, because I don't. No, not in terrible. Is he's not a great athlete.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what it is to have a back injury like what he has. And I'm not saying it's a terrible pick because he's a terrible player. I'm just saying it's a terrible pick because you need to win now. I mean, and I know Mark Howard doesn't believe me, but we're a couple of pieces away.
If they're not a couple of pieces away, that hot seat's going to get hot for Robinson and Vrabel because these fans want to win.
That's what I'm saying. So why would you bring a guy that you're unsure of to, just because some doctors, and I respect the doctor, I respect the medical field, but at the end of the day, that's good and dandy, but we got to see him on the field. If I'm a head coach and I'm a general manager, I want to see this guy in the field. I want to see how he gets out of his breaks out of a cone drill. We didn't see that.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see that, Jared. And if I don't see you doing that on the field, how am I expecting you to do that when we come in camp if I haven't seen it?
You don't take any solace out of the fact that Chris Sims said, and again, I mean, I like Chris Sims just fine. I don't think it's the gospel of making decisions, but that Chris Sims said that he thinks Caleb Farley is the best corner, that 2019 tape is the best corner he has scouted since he got into scouting in the media, and better than Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, but here's the thing is, he probably was. But now, after the injury, does he have that same potential to be that good?
Sure. I mean, like, if Jamar Chase ruined his back, he would not have been, even though he opted out last year, he would not have been as high of a pick as he was this year.
Yeah, I mean, you just have a question mark because, we haven't had a chance to see Farley on the field. And you have to be on the field because in this league, to be successful in this league, you got to be available.
Mark Howard, I've been working with Chris Sanders for 6 years, probably on and off. This is the most upset I have ever seen Chris.
I've lost for words, man.
I guess.
With a Titans decision.
Well, like I said, I want to hear from JR first, and then, we can really form a better opinion.
And listen, I respect those guys. I respect them to the utmost. But you had so many other players on the board. I mean, you had Elijah Moore. You had, how you pronounce? Help me pronounce his name again.
Azeez Ojulari.
Thank you. And you had him on the board. and you've seen those guys in action. You've seen their workouts. You've seen them play on the field. We haven't seen Farley on the field or in individual workouts. And I know I keep being repetitive, but at the end of the day, if I don't see you on the field and I don't see you running and I don't see these things, I'm not going to take a chance because I don't want to have a question mark. I want to have a period.
We are awaiting John Robinson and Mike Vrabel to press conference. I mean, I don't know what Mike Vrabel's going to say about this, Mark Howard. You know, these press conferences really, you know, the coach, what's Vrabel going to add? Yeah, you know, we're excited. We'll play him a little bit.
They're a necessary evil.
I remember when Peter Laviolette. Oh, here we go.
John and Coach. Teresa, you want to get us started?
For John and then for Mike, this is a young man in Caleb Farley who he's had 2 surgeries for herniated discs. He tested positive for COVID, keeping him away from Cleveland tonight. Did you get the answers you wanted on his injury history to help make you confident of making this pick tonight?
Yeah, absolutely, Teresa. We had a lot of meetings with Caleb, via Zoom. Our doctors, our trainers spent a lot of time, analyzing all of the stuff and talking with Caleb over the phone. And we're super stoked to have him as a part of our football team.
I think John said everything. We were comfortable. I think that, where the issues were, and enjoyed our numerous meetings with him, interactions with him. And it's just something that we'll have to work through here.
Jim Wyatt.
And John and Mike, if you could both just speak to his talents as a football player, as far as his ability, his competitiveness, and what he'll bring to the football team.
Yeah, I mean, he was a fun guy to evaluate on film. Extremely competitive, excellent size and speed for the position that he played. Talked to several of his coaches there at Virginia Tech who raved about him as a person and his ability to learn and go out on the field and make plays for that defense there. Really just checked every box for us.
Yeah, I think the thing that stood out to me was the athleticism. I think you see a former receiver that's learned how to play corner and will continue to, hopefully like a lot of us, continue to improve. But there's a certain level of athleticism, smoothness, a lot of fluidity. So that was really what stood out there, was just the athleticism.
Teron.
Yeah, John, what type of assurance or confidence do you have just in his ability to maintain his explosiveness and a lot of the traits that he had pre-injury?
Yeah, again, I'm no Dr. T, but our medical staff, they've dealt with a lot of injuries in the National Football League, and they feel confident in it. We spoke to him several times and said he was feeling great after having the latest procedure, and I have the utmost confidence he's going to attack the process to get himself ready as soon as possible.
And Coach Vrabel, for you, obviously you guys have a plan, but is this something that you would imagine would be similar to how you brought Jeffrey Simmons along? I know his agent said that he would be able to play in camp. What is your plan that you guys have in place?
The plan is to get him here as soon as he's able to be here, to begin working with Todd and continue to evaluate where he's at. Get him into mini camp and begin to meet with him to get him acclimated to what we're doing and get him acclimated to this football team. But, neither his agent or anybody else knows when he's going to be ready. We've been down this road before. Not going to compare him to what Jeffrey Simmons might have went through, different injuries, different players. So we're confident and comfortable. And that's why we took them. We're extremely excited, but we're not going to sit here and try to give everybody a timeline of when that may happen.
Corey?
Hey, John, is this a situation like with Jeffrey where you feel like because of the injury, you're getting a top 10 talent at the back half of the draft?
Yeah, I don't know where the rankings are, Corey. But we certainly thought that he was a premium player on our board. We had a lot of good grades. From our scouts, from our coaches. We watched a lot of film on him, and just a guy with a really cool, really explosive skill set that's going to help our football team.
Terry?
Mike, one of the things that had been said about Caleb was that he maybe had the best man cover skills of any corner in this draft. Can you talk about how he fits into what you like to do with your secondary?
I've missed anything, Terry. It's been your internet connection. I've absolutely missed that. I appreciate this. He's long, and I think that's something that they did a lot at Virginia Tech. Those guys were manned up outside, not a whole lot of help, and that's what they did. And so he's coming from a very aggressive scheme that puts a lot of pressure on those guys on the outside. And that's what they've always done there, and they've been successful. So I think that, it's cat coverage. I got this cat, you got that cat, and that's what he's used to. So, we'll get him to learn what we're doing and see where he fits in.
Paul Koharski.
John, I guess primarily for you, when we talked last week, I asked you about the medicals and how it worked in terms of your people seeing a guy like Caleb or relying on the opinions of others. Can you talk us through if your doctors got hands on him or if you're reliant on reports from others?
No, we spent time with him and got the medicals on him and had follow-up phone calls, talked to trainers over at Virginia Tech that he's worked with, and really got a detailed breakdown of what he's been doing and how he attacks everything, and everybody spoke glowingly of that. And I've had follow-up conversations with our medical team several times about Caleb because we had such an affinity for him. And again, just excited that he was there and we were able to pick him.
Was there a little bit of a luck of the draw thing to that, or did your affinity for him enable you to get to him?
Well, I think there were certain players that our doctors we had certainly earmarked for them to try to get to and talk to, and they did a great job of hustling around there at Indy and talking to the guys that that we kind of had starred.
Thanks,
Joe Rexrode.
Yeah, I said John, but actually I'm going to switch to Mike. Mike, you just mentioned the man coverage. What about the development that they've done at that place with Bud Foster? I mean, is that also a draw to a player like Caleb?
Well, I think what the draw is, and there's a lot of great coaches, that prepare players for the next level, and certainly that program is one of them. And Bud has done that throughout the years. They've had some really, really good defensive players. He's also a former receiver, so I think that development is going to continue to happen, and they don't play every coverage. And I think that that's something that, he'll learn quickly, is to try to have some, just probably a larger playbook, expand what they have asked him to do in the past as opposed to what we would ask him to do.
Steve Lehman.
Hey, John, you said the other day that the perfect world is a matchup of best player available versus a need. Do you feel like you hit that with Caleb Farley tonight?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I think we're trying to add this weekend guys that we think can come in and help our football team. You can never have enough cover guys, and can never have enough good football players. And I think that he certainly fits both of those. And we were excited when he was still there and we were on the clock.
Buck.
Sorry, on the iPad. John, you talked about
wanting to add as many picks in the top 100 as possible. Did you guys see any action on the pick at 22?
We did. We had a little bit going on there. We had a couple chances, but the value to move back, we didn't feel like was worth risking losing the player.
Chris Harris.
John, did it change the way you guys evaluated players, the ones who opted out of 2020? Caleb hadn't played in like 17 months. Is that a concern at all?
No, we felt confident in his ability. There were a lot of guys that opted out in this draft, and we didn't take their cards off the draft board just because they didn't play this year. Everybody had their own reasons for not playing, and we evaluated those guys and stacked those guys up based off the film that we had and the games that they played in.
Gentry.
Yeah, John, how did the reports on Caleb's back affect how you guys maybe had him evaluated to that point? Are you concerned at that point in terms of trying to find out more, or did you stay pretty much the same with him the whole way?
I'd say we stayed pretty much the same with him the whole way. Yeah, anytime a player has a medical condition, it's up to the doctors and those guys to investigate that and provide us with information. And my hat goes off to those guys. They did an outstanding job of vetting out all the information and clearing him for us. And but the skill set that you see on tape and the person that we got to know and the recommendations that all the coaches and staff that I talked to about Caleb, all of that stayed the same.
David Beauclair.
John, you talked the other day about the horizontal nature of the draft board. As it was getting close, how many positions there were still in play for you guys at that point?
There were a couple. Yeah, there were a couple guys that we were looking at. But we just felt Caleb was far and away at the top of the heap.
Luke.
John, do you expect Caleb to be healthy and ready to go for training camp and to contribute week one?
Yeah, we don't put timetables or expectations on that. I know that, when I talked to him, he said, when can I get the playbook? I'm ready to come in and get to know my teammates and work hard. And that's our expectation for him. And he knows what that is. And his work ethic was outstanding at Virginia Tech. And we expect the same thing when he comes in here.
Do you all think he'll need any additional surgeries or procedures on the back?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not going to get into the medical files on him. I think whatever's been disclosed out there is what it is. And he said he's feeling good. When we talked to the training staff over Virginia Tech, they said he's working hard over there with those guys and feeling good. So he's excited to get in here and work with our guys.
Kayla.
Yeah, John, you touched on it a little bit, but you always preach getting in guys that love ball, that fit this team, fit the culture of this team. Can you just go into a little bit more of this kid's character? And I know he's been through a lot of things in his life as well at a young age.
Yeah, this guy's, I talked to several position coaches that just raved about his work ethic and his desire to come in and meet extra when he switched positions and learning the cornerback position. And he was a guy that wanted to know the entire defense, not just his job, because he wanted to know how he fit into that puzzle, if you will. So a guy that's just totally all in when it comes to football.
John Glennon.
Yes, for both John and Mike. You might have touched on this earlier, but I know Caleb hadn't really played cornerback, obviously, for that long. What do you guys expect, as a guy still growing into that position with this talent? What more will he learn as he gets more experience, do you think?
Yeah, I think he'll come in and learn the techniques that we teach for corner play and learn our terminology, learn our scheme, work hard at getting that down, and be a good teammate. I think that's the one thing that he told me on the phone tonight. He's like, when can I get the playbook, and when can I come? I want to meet my teammates. So that's kind of where his mindset is right now, and can't wait to get him.
He's only played for a couple of years. What will you see, you think, on the learning curve for a guy like that?
Well, I mean, I think that it's will probably be pretty high. I mean, I think that when you're talented and you're willing, this is a guy that we love to talk football with. We've talked a lot of ball. We've had some really good conversations between John and I, position coaches and scouts. These were easy communications. They were easy conversations. And so, if talented players are willing to play hard and are willing to be coached, they have a pretty high ceiling.
Ben?
Hey guys, this is more of a question for Mike, but in what ways does maybe Caleb give you guys some versatility at cornerback, maybe having, him and, Janoris Jenkins on the outside and then putting Christian Fulton inside? Just what does having a guy like Farley do for the cornerback room and just the versatility there?
I think we'll kind of see how a lot of those things play out, as he continues to work his way onto this football team. That's a long way away. And we're excited about adding a talented player at a position that is a premium position in this league. And it can make a huge impact. But to try to figure out where all those pieces are going to fit right now is not something that we're going to do. We're going to try to work with him and try to improve him and try to get him acclimated to this football team.
Last three. Paul?
Sorry, John, sorry to harp on the doctor thing. Only one doctor allowed in Indy by each team. Is that correct?
I think that's correct. I don't have the medical rules in front of me, Paul. Sorry.
Can I talk to Dr. Bird?
No comment.
Chris Harris?
Mike, as you got to know Caleb a little bit personally, what did you see? Whenever you can kind of tell us just about.
I think I saw a very genuine, dedicated player who was, appeared to be a great teammate. Appeared, the conversations, he was well spoken. And a lot of, I would say that the conversations that I have with players are probably, private in nature. And so, again, I enjoyed it. I thought the time went quickly. It wasn't something that, when we asked them to ask us questions, he was quick to ask questions. Sometimes John and I get tired of being the ones asking questions. And so we'd really like to see what these players, what they want to learn from us and what they want to ask us. So, again, those conversations were very easy.
Last one, Jim.
John, what's the thought process as you head into rounds 2 and 3? You still try to attack positions in need and hope it kind of works out where you've got quality players there when you're picking.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see kind of how the guys come off the rest of the night here, and then we've got to weather some picks tomorrow, and we'll see kind of as we inch closer down there to where we're at, who's available, and if we get any action to move around, we're still open to that, and just see how it goes. Continue to add players that we know are going to come in and help the team.
All right.
There you go, Titans press conference. The explanation is in from John Robinson and Mike Vrabel. Guys, quickly, we'll start with Chris Sanders. Yes. Let's call this the locker room, presented by Freedom Tire. Guys, Chris Sanders, was the explanation from John Robinson good enough for the Caleb Farley injury pick?
No, and there's a couple of things that I kind of want to talk about. They said things like meetings, analyzing, and talking. There was no discussion about we saw him on the field. I mean, that's good and dandy, the doctors, and I respect the doctors, and I respect the meetings, I respect the talking. But at the end of the day, can he play football next year? That's what I'm concerned about.
TD?
And that's why I asked the question I did, because it's like, okay, it sounds good. Like you and I could talk, and I could tell you that I'm going to be in the NFL, or I could tell you that I have $1 million. I could sound good, but
Show me.
when it comes time to show that, I can't show you that. And I like you said, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to
Exactly.
understand. You
Yes.
know, so that's why I asked him, okay, well, what assurance do you have or confidence that you have that he will be the player that he was? Because here's the thing. 21 other teams were like, no, this guy's a
21.
legitimate top 15, top 10 player when healthy. So I'm not saying you follow the path that everyone else did, but that should cause some, hey, look, man. And he never really said for sure
See, that's what I'm
that they
saying.
had doctors on it. And that's another thing to be concerned about. But, you know, that's the ultimate thing, and that's what is so interesting about this game and about guys who pick these players and who coach these players. There's ego to it.
Mm-hmm.
They always feel, okay, well, you know what? I am the smartest person in the room. I could take this and make it work.
Especially, I mean, like, not to knock Vrabel, but Vrabel especially.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. There's nothing. I like that fact, but you know, you just got to be careful to where that confidence doesn't put you in a bad situation.
Mark, what'd you think of the explanation?
Well, it was sort of trust us. You know, and I don't always buy that, but you know, this is going to be you know, an evaluation that only time will tell.
Yeah.
If he's on the field and performing capably, then the risk you know, was worth it. You know, if he turns out to be a perpetual you know, scratch on Sunday, or you know, up, then we've got a totally different issue.
I think this is the riskiest pick of John Robinson's career. And I say this with the, you know, to the TD point, like, I'm not trying to knock it. I'm not.
Me too.
I hated the explanation. You know, well, we talked to him on Zoom a bunch. He says his back's good. Ah, great, Zoom. That's oh, yes. Oh, yeah, I'm glad we found out you're back. Okay, good. So now I know you can cover DeAndre Hopkins because Zoom. Like, so that bothered me. But again, I mean, look, John is the one who's taking the risk here. You know, not me, not you, not nobody. Wow. Baltimore at 31 goes Jason Owe out of Penn State. Ojolari still on the board. Here comes Tampa Bay to pick them. But no, I didn't think the explanation was good enough. I'm with Mark. The trust us. You don't get trust us. You don't get the benefit of the doubt when you drafted Isaiah Wilson last year. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Can I? Do we have time to give an illustration?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever watched that movie Friday, where it was what was it? Chris Tucker, the girl. He was talking to the girl on the phone, and she was saying that she looked like Janet Jackson. She was saying all the right things, but when she showed up, she looked
like
totally
like Freddie Jackson.
She looked like Freddie Jackson.
Talking about rock steady.
So what I'm saying is,
cannot believe you just went there.
I know, but I'm giving an illustration to where she was saying the right things. The doctors were saying the right things. He was saying the right things, but we're not going to know until he actually shows up. I know it's a funny illustration, but there's so much truth to that because you can say all the right things. You can do all the things. You can get all the meetings. You can analyze, but until I actually see that you're on the field, then that's when I'll make my judgment.
Let's take a quick timeout. Again, there's one pick left in round number one. Tampa Bay's on the clock. Jason Owe goes to Baltimore. We'll recap all the picks that we missed. Too busy talking. And then we will wrap it up next. Live from Third and Home. It is not Stillman and Company, which I was about to say it was. It is the Draft Show on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
from 3rd and Home in Germantown, you're listening to Draft Night in Nashville on Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Draft night in Nashville. We are live from 3rd and Home. Be sure to join us tomorrow. Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House in East Nashville. We will be back. Same story, but 3 picks to get to tomorrow. The Tennessee Titans go Caleb Farley, 22nd overall, coming off of the back injury. Chris Sanders hated the pick. Mark Howard here as well. TD will be with us again tomorrow. Couple of surprising picks. Azeez Ojulari does not go. In fact, Jason Owe went before him. Gregory Rousseau went before him. Joe Tryon went before him. A run on the pass rushers at the end of the first round. We spent a lot of time talking about the Titans pick, and we will spend a lot of time talking about that tomorrow as well. After the Titans, though, Christian Darrisaw at 23 to Minnesota, Najee Harris at 24 to Pittsburgh, Travis Etienne at 25 to Jacksonville, Gregory Newsome at 26 to the Browns, Rashad Bateman, a Titan target at 27 to Baltimore, Patrick Turner, pass rusher out of Houston to the Saints, Eric Stokes, corner out of Georgia to the Packers, and then Rousseau to Buffalo, Jason Owe to Baltimore, and Joe Tryon to Tampa Bay. Mark Howard, what did you think of the end of the first round? Are you surprised guys like Elijah Moore and Azeez Ojulari and Tevin Jenkins are still around for day 2?
We really didn't see the secondary run on the wide receivers. Bateman maybe, but the 2 Moores are still out there. We'll be talking about Nico Collins tomorrow. There's a bunch still out there. As far as pass rushers are concerned, don't worry, Titans fans. There's still some people out there that are definitely draftable, and we'll have to see how the board goes.
Yeah, I'm just tripping that Ojulari. I keep messing up his name. Ojulari.
You got it right.
Thank you. I got it right this time. But, that quality of player is slipping to the second round.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talking about him being in the first round. So that just gives us a little bit of hope that we maybe can still get a quality player like that we maybe could have gotten in the first round. So even though I'm a little disappointed with the first round draft pick, I think the Tennessee Titans are going to get some good picks later on.
I think tomorrow's the money day. The Farley thing, look, I said it. I think it's the riskiest pick of Robinson's career. And if it doesn't work out, Robinson will probably be the one who kind of, takes the fall on it. But tomorrow, 3 picks. And I think, Mark, I think they need starters tomorrow in both the second and third round.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're definitely going to go cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure they're going to go wide receiver. And then after that, we'll see. They still have to get a pass rusher. So those might be the 3 areas they address. And then, maybe on Saturday in the middle rounds, they can, maybe find a tight end.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You still need to get some edge rushers. There's some guys that's still available. You got Tyron, and Patrick Jones and Carlos Basham Jr. from Wake Forest. So there's still some quality talent out there that the Tennessee Titans can get.
Tryon's gone.
Oh, he's gone. Yeah, he is gone. But there's still some quality guys out there that the Tennessee Titans can get. I just think that you don't want to get some players that just sit around. You want to get some impact players, and I think there's some available. And I think if they can do that, Tennessee Titans can be successful.
Biggest surprise of the first round tonight. What kind of shook you outside of the obvious surprise of the Titans taking Caleb Farley? And I would love to know, in all seriousness, what every team behind the Titans thought of Farley's injury. What was the biggest surprise for you, Chris?
I can't get past the Farley one. I'm sorry. I can't. I mean, that just baffled me, because the reason why it baffles me, Jared, is because there were so many guys that the Tennessee Titans could have got. They could have got Elijah Moore. They could have got Ojulari. How do I say his name again? Ojulari. I mean, guys like that they could have came in and they wouldn't have had any question marks. I know you want me to pick another situation where it could be, but I'm still confused about the Tennessee Titans pick.
I would say Trey Lance going to the 49ers.
Just pretty quick
but also how the Aaron Rodgers story really kind of dissolved in front of our eyes. We thought that was really going to define the first round, and it really didn't mean anything.
Guys, I want to thank you guys. You guys and TD. We will be back at it tomorrow night live from Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House in East Nashville. Stillman and Company, though, starts at 2 o'clock, so be excited about all that. Special thanks to our friends at mtgrt.com, Apple Collision Centers, Freedom Tire Guys, and Founders Brewing. Again, tomorrow the draft show is back. Special thanks to Michael Pope on site here, Max Hers back in the studio, who, by the way, calls a heck of a Vandy baseball game. And Caroline Fenton, of course, running our digital operations. As always, we are out of here. We're back tomorrow. We will see you for the draft night.